Urgent Atlanta Falcons fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest Atlanta Falcons updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey, Falcons fans, today we're diving deep into a story that's been making waves in Atlanta and across the NFL community. It's about a plan that the Falcons had, a move that could have changed their pass rushing future dramatically. We're talking about the potential draft of James Pierce Jr., a player who, if things had gone differently, might have been a Falcon right now. This is a story full of strategic decisions, what-ifs, and a little bit of NFL draft drama that really highlights how much Atlanta has been trying to fix a long-standing problem on their defense, the edge rush. Now, for those of you who've been following the Falcons' journey over the past decade, you know that replacing the legendary John Abraham has been a monumental challenge. Abraham, who was acquired by Atlanta in 2006 through a three-team trade, was a franchise cornerstone for years. He was the kind of player who could change the game single-handedly, a relentless pass rusher that offenses had to account for every single snap. Abraham's departure in 2013, when he signed with the Arizona Cardinals, left a huge void. Since then, the Falcons have been in pursuit of that same disruptive presence on the edge, and unfortunately, they haven't quite found it yet. Despite investing heavily through first-round picks, free agency signings, and even making trades, Atlanta has struggled to find that consistent, game-changing pass rusher. Over the years, they brought in players like Osi Umenyiora, Dwight Freeney, Bruce Irvin, Dante Fowler, and Bud Dupree. Some of these additions were meant to be stopgaps, filling in the gap until the team could develop or acquire a long-term solution. Others, like the trades and signings, didn't quite pan out as hoped. For instance, first-rounders like Vic Beasley in 2015 and Takk McKinley in 2017, both of whom were highly drafted, failed to develop into the dominant edge rushers the Falcons envisioned. Beasley had a standout season in 2016 with double-digit sacks, but that was more of an outlier than the rule. Since Abraham's departure, the Falcons have only managed one season where a player posted double-digit sacks, Beasley's 2016 campaign. That's a stark statistic, especially considering the team's aspirations of having a fearsome pass rush. It's no wonder that this issue has become a significant point of concern for the coaching staff, front office, and fans alike. Their inability to consistently pressure the quarterback has impacted their overall defensive performance, especially in close games where a sack or a pressure can make the difference between a win and a loss. This ongoing challenge heavily influenced the Falcons' strategy in the recent NFL draft, particularly in 2024. It's fascinating to look back and see how Atlanta approached the draft with a specific goal in mind, finding that long-term solution on the edge. During last year's draft, the Falcons made a surprising pick, Michael Penix Jr., the talented Washington quarterback, an unconventional choice that sparked a lot of debate. Following that, Atlanta was heavily eyeing potential upgrades to their pass rush, especially after the team's attempts at acquiring and developing pass rushers didn't quite hit the mark. One of the key moves that caught everyone's attention was the team's effort to trade up for Laiatu Latu, a talented edge rusher out of UCLA, after the draft. However, no deal materialized for Latu, and the Falcons had to pivot. Fast forward to this year's draft, and Atlanta made a bold move. They decided to send their 2026 first-round pick to the Los Angeles Rams in a package deal to secure James Pierce Jr., a highly regarded edge rusher out of Tennessee. Now, this was a calculated risk, and it's one that shows just how much the Falcons are committed to solving their pass-rushing woes once and for all. Before this deal, Atlanta had already made a significant first-round pick at number 15, selecting linebacker Jalen Walker, a hybrid player with versatility and a lot of potential. But the real prize, in the eyes of many analysts, was Pierce. According to SI.com's Albert Breer, the Falcons had high on him on their draft board, and they were willing to go all in to get him. In fact, the team was so keen on Pierce that they were prepared to take him at number 15 if he had been available, something that shows just how highly they valued his talent. The decision to trade their 2026 first-round pick was not taken lightly. It's a significant sacrifice, especially considering how valuable first-round picks are for building sustained success. But the Falcons front office, led by GM Terry Fontenot, believed that Pierce represented a real long-term answer to their pass rushing problem. He's a player with impressive production, 17.5 sacks over his last 2 seasons at Tennessee, and an eye-popping 4.47-second 40-yard dash. Those combined numbers indicate explosive athleticism, which is exactly what the Falcons need to complement their existing pass rushers. Now, let's talk about the context here. The Falcons had already made a significant splash in free agency by signing Leonard Floyd, a talented pass rusher who was released by the San Francisco 49ers. Floyd brings experience and a proven ability to generate pressure, which is vital as Atlanta tries to rebuild its defensive front. Alongside Floyd, they also have Jalen Walker and a returning Grady Jarrett, who came back from an ACL tear to re-establish himself as a dominant interior presence. But even with these pieces, last season's pressure rate was alarmingly low, ranking 31st in the NFL. That's a clear indicator that the Falcons desperately needed to add more talent and explosiveness to their pass rush. This is where James Pierce Jr. becomes a critical part of the puzzle. The team hosted him on a 30 visit during draft week, showing their serious interest. His profile fits perfectly with what Atlanta has been lacking, an edge rusher who can not only rush the passer but also set the edge against the run, and who can develop into a cornerstone piece for years to come. His ability to produce sacks, combined with his athleticism, makes him an intriguing prospect. And the fact that he was projected to go in the first round, with some mock drafts placing him even higher, underscores how much of a gamble the Falcons were willing to take. Meanwhile, Jalen Walker, their first-round pick at number 15, brings a different kind of versatility. His background as a hybrid linebacker at Georgia gives Atlanta options to deploy him both on the edge and in the middle, depending on the situation. The team's coaching staff and defensive coordinators are likely to get creative with how they use these two players together. Walker's experience as an off-ball linebacker creates intriguing possibilities for how the Falcons could mix and match their defensive front. With Leonard Floyd on a 1-year, $10 million deal, there's a sense that the Falcons are building for the future, aiming to establish a bright, young core of pass rushers that can grow together. So, what does all of this mean for the Falcons moving forward? Well, it's clear that Atlanta has recognized their long-standing problem, finding a consistent edge rusher, and they're making aggressive moves to fix it. The team's front office clearly believes that Pierce and Walker, along with Floyd, can form a potent pass-rushing trio that finally makes opposing quarterbacks think twice before dropping back to pass. It's a gamble, yes, but one rooted in strategic assessment and a desire to turn a corner. Furthermore, the draft process and the moves made by Atlanta reveal a lot about their mindset. They're not just looking for quick fixes, they want long-term solutions. The decision to trade up for Pierce, even at the cost of losing a future first-round pick, demonstrates their commitment to addressing this issue head-on. It also highlights the importance they place on athleticism and production at the edge position, traits that Pierce possesses in spades. And let's not forget the historical context. The Falcons' defense has often been a mixed bag, capable of moments of brilliance but inconsistent overall. Improving their pass rush is critical to elevating the entire unit. When you can pressure the quarterback, it disrupts the offense's rhythm, forces turnovers, and often leads to wins. The team's coaching staff has emphasized this in recent years, and now, with these draft picks and free agent signings, they're betting on their talent evaluation to finally unlock that potential. Looking ahead, it's going to be fascinating to see how the Falcons deploy Pierce, Walker, Floyd, and the rest of their defensive front. Will they use Pierce as a pure edge rusher, or will they move him around to create mismatches? Will Walker be primarily a linebacker or more of an edge rusher? And how will Floyd fit into this puzzle, given his experience and 1-year deal? These questions will be answered on the field, but the signs point to a more aggressive, dynamic pass rush that could make Atlanta's defense significantly more formidable. In the end, what this all boils down to is Atlanta's relentless pursuit of a disruptive pass rush, a quest that's defined many of their recent seasons. They've tried free agents, draft picks, trades, and everything in between. Now, with the acquisition of Pierce and the strategic draft moves, they seem to be betting big on their ability to develop and maximize these young talents. If they succeed, it could be the missing piece that propels Atlanta into the playoff conversation more consistently, and perhaps even makes them a feared team in the NFC. So, Falcons fans, stay tuned, because this story is far from over. The offseason is just beginning, and there's a lot more to come as we see how these new pieces fit into the bigger picture. The next few months will be crucial for the team's development, and I'll be right here keeping you updated with all the latest news, insights, and analysis. This is a pivotal moment for Atlanta's defense, and it's exciting to think about what the future might hold. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this whole situation? Do you believe Pierce and Walker can be the game-changers Atlanta needs? Are you excited about the potential of this young, revamped pass rush? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and, of course, to the Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with even more updates, rumors, and deep dives into everything Atlanta Falcons. So stay tuned, stay excited, and let's see how this next chapter unfolds for one of the most passionate fanbases in the NFL.